office, we are very near, if not to a cyclone formation. And we're going to treat it that way. In other words, we're going to treat it as though we were under warning, and hence we're going to make all the necessary precautions that we would normally make with a warning or what. Now, projections are that the system will start affecting us sometime after midnight, and the center will pass close or over us around 2 in the morning, 2 to 3 in the morning. This means that we can get some rainfall starting from just after midnight and going when the center passes, and throughout tomorrow, Wednesday. We expect to have rainfall for most of Wednesday.
Thank you, Mr. Lovell. In terms of the, as I would have indicated previously, we would have had discussions this morning. And as a result, the Ministry of Education has released some information for the general public. The ministry advises that that Barbados Community College, Samuel Jackman Preston Polytechnic, and the Erdiston Teachers College will close at 3 p.m. The University of the West Indies have indicated that their classes will end also at 3 p.m. and the last shuttle will be at 5 p.m. There will be no evening classes today, Tuesday the 27th, at any of these institutions. And with respect to Barbados Community College, Samuel Jackman, and Erdiston Teachers College, there will be no classes tomorrow, Wednesday, 28th September. Further, the Ministry of Education advises that schools, all primary and secondary schools, and nursery schools will be closed at their regular times today, Tuesday, 27th of September. All after-school activities will be curtailed, including lessons, to ensure that students are off the street as early as possible. The public is further advised that there will be no school tomorrow, Wednesday, 28th September. And the Ministry of Education wishes you to listen to the media for information on when schools will reopen. With respect to the shelters, shelter wardens have been informed and will be positioned at the 20 Category 1 shelters across the island. The first aid and nursing staff have been allocated to these shelters. And as such, we will issue any further information as the time progresses. I would want now to hand you over to the marketing manager of the Transport Board, Ms. Linda Holder, and she will give you an update as it relates to the transportation schedule. Good evening, everyone. As it relates to public transportation controlled by the Barbados Transport Board, the last bus leaving each of our terminals and the Oysters Depot will be at 8 p.m. This means that if you are working, you're completing your work due at 8 p.m., you will still be in time if you have to get onto the road to catch the bus. If you have to get into the terminal to catch the bus, you must be in the bus terminal in order to leave with that bus at 8 p.m. We will be picking up passengers on our way out to whatever our final destinations are. However, I need you to be clear on this. Buses that are making what will essentially be a last trip from the terminal do not collect passengers on their way back in. And that is because a number of our services do not end where they commence. So we don't bring in passengers. So as our last bus for tonight will be 8 p.m. from the terminal, we cannot wait for that service come back into Bridgetown because more likely than not, it will not be ending in Bridgetown. And we need to be clear as to why this is being done. As soon as the bus leaves the terminal, and let's use the example of Connell Town service, That is a 90-minute service. So from Bridgetown to Connelltown is 90 minutes. It means that our staff will not get back to the starting point until probably something to 10. Then we have to clear buses and do the necessary things with them before we can park them. So our internal staff will still be working after 10. Now the system is expected to reach us around midnight. Then our staff will be leaving our various locations at something to 11 to make their way home. So we would not be able to go much later than 8 p.m. I just wanted to be clear so that persons would understand the timelines that we work with. So the last bus leaving each location and Oysters. And Oysters is critical because the number of our cross-country services commence or end at Oysters. So that last service will leave those locations at 8, but they will not be transporting anyone back into the terminal because a number of them will not end in the terminal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Holder. Before I go to the Barbados Chamber of Commerce representative, I would like everyone to note that the Child Care Board has advised that all daycare centers will be closed today at 4:30 p.m. and will remain closed tomorrow, Wednesday, September 28th. As a result of the impending system, businesses have also indicated that they will be putting a number of contingency plans in place. And we have the Executive Director of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce, Lisa Gale, who will now give an update on the businesses.
Thank you, Ms. Hines. At the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we are encouraging all businesses to take into consideration the information we would have received from the Met Office, take that into consideration and ensure that you protect your business houses, that you also protect the safety of your employees. We are encouraging those first can close early, depending on the type of business you have, and considering the information received from the Transport Board, those persons who use public transportation would need to get home, and if the last bus is exiting the terminal at 8 p.m., we would ask that you give some leeway to those persons so that they can make their way out of on their way home, etc. There are a number of businesses that have indicated that they are going to make early closures, some as early as 2 p.m., some as early as 5 p.m. And you would know the type of business that you are in. There are some of us who have restaurants who are only open in the evening and would want to capitalize on that business. Some of them have indicated that they're closing at 10 p.m., and that is quite fine. We ask that you take into consideration your employees and their safety and make sure that even if you are operating outside of the Transport Board time span, that you can facilitate the transportation of your employees to and from their homes. We have established a Barbados Business Emergency Operating Center in October of 2015, and that is a fledgling operating center, very, very early stages. But what it is essentially is trying to bring together all of those agencies. We are a partner with the Department of Emergency Management, and that's why we're here. And today we are encouraging our businesses who have put in place business continuity plans to ensure that based on tomorrow, after the clear has been given for reopening, that they are in place, particularly your what I call the technological inputs, your computers, you're turned off, and you're securing your business houses. We stress that it is important for you to secure your business houses as well as the safety of your employees. In regard for tomorrow, we ask that you stay tuned for the update from the meteorological office. We expect an update by 6 p.m. That would indicate how freely you can move. At this very early stage, we're not in a position to give you a yes or no. We understand the importance of the shelters and the education centers, in particular the schools. So we note that they will not be open tomorrow, but we ask that our business houses remain in tune with the respective notices that will come from the Met Office. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Gill. We at the Department of Emergency Management continue to urge the public to put their preparedness plans in place. Please ensure that you have adequate supplies of water, batteries, and dry goods stored. Also ensure that your supplies of medication, daily supplies, and just ensure that your family and friends are safe. And be sure to check the elderly and those disabled persons in your community. Of particular note, persons living in low-lying areas and flood-prone areas are advised to seek early shelter with family first before going to the public shelters. But as stated before, we do have the public shelters will be open as required. The Department of Emergency Management has been in constant contact with its district emergency organizations and are satisfied that these volunteers within the community are prepared to respond to any emergency. Please be advised that tropical systems have their own personalities, characteristics, and you may get rain at some point in time, or you may not. You will get high winds at some point, and then they may be low. But you must make sure that you are prepared for any eventuality. The National Emergency Operations Center here at number 30 Lawrence Industrial Park will be activated at 10 p.m. So all the key emergency services and stakeholders will be rallying through the night to make any decisions necessary as it relates to the system. And please stay tuned and monitor the media for further updates on the system, and they will be provided as we will update the media as we see. At this stage, we would like this public to err on the side of caution. Listen to the preparedness messages, listen to the messages that the Department of Emergency Management, the Barbados Met Services, and the emergency services put out. It is very important that you remain safe at all times. Public safety is key, is our main business here at the Department of Emergency Management, and we would want all Barbadians and visitors alike to be safe and rally out the system once it passes tonight into tomorrow. Any questions from the media?
Well, you heard about the basic summary from the official State Department of Emergency Management. The Director of the DEM, Kerry Hines, as well as the Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce, Lisa Gale, and the Chief Med Officer, that's Mr. Hampton Lovell, as well as the Manager of Communications at the Transport Board, Linda Holder. So in essence, the system approaching Barbados expected to arrive here sometime around midnight and thereafter into tomorrow morning, more likely as a tropical depression, possibly still as a tropical storm. If there's any positive of this, one of the interesting notes was that the storm, certainly the major part of it, seemed to be tracking a bit further north than they had initially thought, and therefore some of the strongest winds might be to the north of Barbados as opposed to the south, which we would really get the brunt of it. So if those stronger winds are to the north of Barbados, then we might be spared some of the more fierce gusts. But we can still expect a lot of rain, 4 to 8 inches, and that could bring some heavy flooding. As you said before, schools will be closed tomorrow. Businesses asked to close by about 6 o'clock. Nursery schools, SH, PP, UE, those are all closing this evening, and the schools will remain closed tomorrow, and the shelters will be deployed. The Department of Emergency Management, and of course we will be monitoring developments throughout the night. STARCOM will have special coverage starting about 8 p.m. We'll be here at the DM throughout the night, and we'll have special teams in studio at STARCOM Network Studios to keep you updated throughout the night and into tomorrow. From the Department of Emergency Management, Stetson Babstock on Network News.